Good evening and welcome to the news. As usual, the midweek edition runs for an hour and a half, touching every zone in the country with special attention to stories about Nigeria and Nigerians. The next 90 minutes will also feature in-depth analysis of trending issues and key sectors of the nation's economy. The top stories.
99.9%, their balance is less than 5 million. Only about 4,000 depositors have more than 5 million and above.
Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation begins liquidation of Heritage Bank.
We have recorded the surrender of 176 terrorists and the arrest of 57 individuals involved in terrorist activities.
Multinational Joint Task Force says offensive against insurgents highly productive. And on the political scene, parties recalibrated for greater success. Eye off cycle elections in Edo and Ondo for good showing. Plus, on World Environment Day, stakeholders discuss practices to preserve the earth from degradation. We also have our usual packages on agriculture, health, security, culture, and sports. On business, Benny's on grounds to count every penny. It's a full editorial meal. But don't take my word for it. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ienre John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Let's hit the road now as Vice President Kashim Shettima says the appointment of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, despite party differences, has brought significant impact to the present administration. Vice President Shettima stated this at the official inauguration of the Inner Southern Expressway to the Outer Southern Expressway, known as Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Way. Aisha Uba Ali reports.
The extension of the Inner Southern Expressway, ISEX, to the Outer Southern Expressway, OSEX, known as Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Way, is to enhance traffic circulation. The project, awarded in 2010 at the sum of 17 billion naira, but later reviewed to 18 billion naira, stretches to Kuje with link to Nyanya Kefi Road. Executive Secretary FCDA Hadi Ahmed highlighted as part of the administration's commitment to prioritizing infrastructure.
The second phase of the project, just for the purpose of mentioning, actually takes off. It's an ongoing contract which is currently being handled by another contractor, that is CGC, and takes to somewhere around Ring Road 2, which we popularly call Galadima roundabout.
FCT Minister Nyesom Wike also used the opportunity to announce that the contract has been awarded already to complete the second phase of the National Assembly, while the first phase of the National Assembly and the Federal Secretariat has been completed.
The second phase is being handled by CGC at a cost of not less than 91 billion naira, which was awarded by the previous administration. Mr. President, I can tell you that project is very, very key to change the landscape of Abuja.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who inaugurated the road on behalf of President Tinubu, says the administration is committed to delivering on the promises made to Nigerians.
The extension of the ISEX represents more than just a road. It symbolizes connectivity, accessibility, and opportunity. It signifies our unwavering determination to bridge the gap between urban and rural areas, ensuring that development is not confined to city centers, but reaches every corner of our great nation. But let us not forget that this is just one of the many projects that have been completed across the FCT.
In the meantime, other projects be commissioned at the house of the Vice President that has been uncompleted since 1999, and the provision of engineering infrastructure for Guzapi, among others, as announced by the Minister of FCT. In Abuja, Aisha Obaali, NTA News.
We head to the National Assembly now as Senate has given approval to President Bola Tinubu's request of 300% salary increase for judicial officers. The lawmakers also passed at second reading a bill that has provisions for the regulation and control of ranching in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us details.
The Judicial Officers' Salaries and Allowances Bill seeks to address the more than 15 years of stagnation of emoluments being paid to judicial officers. The bill was passed as recommended by the Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Aside the increment in the basic salary, it also took cognizance of certain peculiarities of the administrative structure and operation of the judiciary.
Senate also passed for second reading a bill seeking the establishment of National Animal Husbandry and Ranches Commission after extensive debate on some of the provisions.
The bill also proposes that ranches be established in pastoralist states of origin.
Understand that this is not in consonance with our constitution. Your bill is good, I like this bill, but this aspect should be removed.
No one owns land, it is the state governments that own land.
Confine them to one area is not so, it will not solve the problem. I have been part of this agitation. The ECOWAS protocol is part of the problem that we have. You can quote the constitution, but what about the ECOWAS protocol?
When we are looking at clause by clause consideration, we will know whether there is any divisive thing or anything that is contrary to the Nigerian constitution that is embedded therein. And then, of course, that will be deleted. We would like to have a bill that will be sent for assent that is Nigerian in nature, that is holistic, that makes it possible for all to be carried along.
Plenary featured the second reading of the bill to amend the Compulsory Universal Basic Education Act by increasing and enforcing penalties to address the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria.
The provision, no doubt, is meant to be a deterrent for parents who would prefer to engage their children in commercial activities or child labor, domestic chores, and non-curricular activities, including apprenticeship during school hours.
Those who are not able to go to school, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, will find their ways to the Boko Haram enclaves, to the bandits, to the militants, and so on and so forth.
The bill from Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduanga seeking the provision of a legal framework for gold mining activities in the country passed second reading.
The bill presents a significant opportunity to drive economic growth and diversification by creating a conducive environment for investment in the gold sector that can attract both domestic and foreign investors, stimulate job creation, and boost revenue streams for the government.
The gold reserves in Nigeria will beef up the strength of our currency because that will invariably increase our foreign exchange reserve.
Among 6 bills that passed first reading is the Nigeria Police Force Training Institutions Establishment Bill. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
You know what they say, to Georgia is better than to war. And it is in this respect that the House of Representatives has commended the federal government and organized labor for resuming negotiations towards arriving at an implementable minimum wage for Nigerian workers. While thanking organized labor for halting its strike, lawmakers at Wednesday's plenary, however, condemned the shutting down of the national grid and essential services while the strike lasted. National Assembly correspondent Misari Ikpen brings us details of this and other resolutions.
The Green Chamber, which was closed on Tuesday, comes alive on Wednesday as lawmakers express delight that parties in the minimum wage saga are back to the negotiation table.
Commend government for showing absolute commitment by imploring the labor unions to return to negotiation table.
The House, however, condemns disruption of essential services during the strike.
Sometimes when we embark on some of these actions, we should not overstep boundaries. The area of switching off power in the entire country as a way of protest should be condemned.
I'm sure a lot of people died in the past few days of shutting down the national grid. We have to criminalize that.
Trade Dispute Act is very clear with regards to the areas they cannot extend their strike. Broadcasting and communication services. You can't wake up and say the radios will not work, television shut down. People cannot know what is happening. It's like anarchy.
Lawmakers agreed that an amendment of the National Minimum Wage Act is required for it to be in tune with present-day realities. Also during plenary, the House sought to know the status of oil exploration activities in Gombe and Bauchi states.
Mandate the Committee on Petroleum Resources, upstream, downstream, midstream, and gas to investigate why this exercise is declining day after day, that the companies are packing out of the site, to report back in 4 weeks to this Honorable House.
In other resolutions, the House seeks investigation of armed attacks in parts of the country, including the killing of 5 soldiers in Aba.
Security agencies and relevant stakeholders to develop holistic and sustainable solutions to the challenges posed by bandits.
A bill to repeal and reenact the National Planning Commission Act to ensure greater accountability passed second reading.
As we speak, there is no any legal framework for the budget office of this federation. We are now going to have the National Planning Office, the Budget Office, and the Center for Monitoring, Delivery, and Evaluation Offices.
19 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the Fiscal Responsibility Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2024. From the National Assembly, Ienre, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mutari. Away from the National Assembly now, Nigeria is ranked among the countries with lowest consumption of milk per person. Per capita consumption of milk in Nigeria was reported 8.7 liters annually against the World Health Organization of 210 liters per person yearly. The good news now is that the federal government is poised to produce a policy that will enhance milk production and make it affordable for Nigerians. Musa Baba Aliyu will feed us.
Scientifically and traditionally, it is agreed that breast milk is the only source of food as it contains just the right amount of nutrients needed by a child. Research confirms that most children in Nigeria don't have access to milk after they are weaned at age 2. In the area of general consumption of milk, Nigerians are said to be consuming an average of 1.6 billion liters of milk and its products annually. And almost 80% of the milk and dairy products are imported.
They're also going to support availability of the milk and milk product or dairy product as it is, so that the nutritional status of our country can begin to improve also. Because when things are available, the tendency is for it to be available at an affordable rate. Scarcity brings a higher price.
The national policy on dairy that was unveiled by the representative of the Vice President Kashim Shettima was to address all the obstacles associated with livestock and milk production in the country.
Its implementation will ensure improved dairy farming practices, increased investment in dairy processing and preservation, evidence-based policy implementation, enhanced collaboration, private, public sector, and also civil society organizations, ease of doing business within the dairy industry.
And there's a provision that every 5 years, this document will be reviewed. And we hope the parameters and the indices that will indicate the achievement of all that has been set out will be diligently pursued.
The policy will create an enabling environment for smallholder farmers to invest and upscale production and also address farmers-herders conflict. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Looking at other stories now, the vandalized towers along the Jos-Gombe transmission line supplying bulk power to substations in the northeast have been reconstructed with restringing completed. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, in a statement says the line is ready for transmission of bulk electricity to the northeastern part of the country. The 4 towers were vandalized in April 2024, where TCN promised to complete the repairs and restore supply by May 27, 2024. However, the collapse of the 4th tower during the restringing process delayed the completion. TCN appreciates the patience and support of the governors and people in the northeastern part of the country during the period of the tower reconstruction work. Let's talk about the environment now, as President Bola Tinubu on World Environment Day calls for earnest effort and action by citizens, stakeholders, institutions and development partners to safeguard the environment and ensure a win-win transition to a prosperous and clean economic future for all. To achieve carbon neutrality by 2060, President Tinubu established the Presidential Committee on Climate Action and Green Economic Solutions, which he chairs, to oversee the nation's climate mitigation and adaptation efforts, as well as green economy initiatives. The president also approved the establishment of Nigeria's first green industrial zone, Evergreen City, which is poised to be the leading manufacturing hub in Africa for renewable energy technologies. He also restated commitment to ensuring the planting of 25 million trees by 2030, in line with the theme of this year's occasion, which is land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. And still on the environment, of course, today is World Environment Day, and like many countries around the world, Nigeria is also grappling with various degrees of environmental challenges, but with efforts on tree planting to restore degraded lands. There is hope that Earth can be saved, after all, from its ailing state. Now, Charles Alpha witnessed the commemoration of the day in Abuja and now reports.
Nigeria's rich biodiversity offers tremendous economic benefits that far outweighs whatever cost there is for conservation. And tree planting, regarded as one of the nature-based solutions to land degradation, is also believed can offer much more to mitigate impact of climate change. This is why the Ministry of Environment, Oxfam, NNPC Limited, UNEP, UNICEF and the European Union are out here giving expression to this year's World Environment Day by going all out to plant trees.
What we want to encourage today by coming to this particular institution is the fact that we need the children. We need the children, we need everybody to be on board. The agencies, the children, the private sector, the NGOs, and all those that can do it should join hands with us and plant more and more trees.
Land restoration, desertification and drought resilience is the theme for this year's World Environment Day. And the message is that man must take responsibility for the survival of the planet by putting an end to all forms of unwholesome activities.
Every day is Earth Day, which means that we must all not only celebrate today and forget about tomorrow.
Prioritizing nature-based solution, imperative to us in the Federal Ministry of Environment. We are mutually bound to our environment, therefore we must be careful not to hurt the environment.
With the day celebrated globally, nations of the global north are tasked on shaking off the current apathy in international biodiversity finance. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Meanwhile, determined to deepen sensitization on environmental preservation, and the NNPC Foundation is taking awareness to secondary schools across the country. Managing Director, NNPC Foundation, Emanuela Arukwe, is emphatic that the environment is complex and must be preserved to ensure human existence, allowing the various species of flora and fauna maintain balance in the ecosystem. Lydia Sampson has the details.
This is a classroom with a difference. Managing Director, NNPC Foundation, Emanuela Arukwe, is stepping up as an external teacher at Government Day Secondary School, Wuse.
Be careful what you do in the environment. It's either you're building up the environment or degrading the environment. So one of the things is
by planting this tree, you're restoring them.
For the NNPC Foundation, commemorating the day in secondary schools is to ensure the message is replicated and amplified by the students.
I would like to say a very big thank you to the NNPC Foundation, because there are some people that they don't even know anything about deforestation and so on and so forth. But now, as they have enlightened us, what this tree causes, if you cut it now, what will happen? What's the effect?
Yeah, I'll say a very, very big thank you to NNPC Foundation for giving us this wonderful gift and for enlightening us.
These students are 14 years old. They have committed to being ambassadors of environmental education and protection going forward. For the delegation from NNPC Foundation, it is not just about talking points. They practically planted trees as part of land restoration in line with the theme of 2024 World Environment Day.
We are doing this tree planting. We plant about 500 trees, and we are planting across different parts of Nigeria using the environmental clubs in the schools, because we know the young people are the people that this environment belongs to. They still have a long future ahead of them. And so because of that, we are saying that it's important that they get involved in planting trees and also educating people on what cutting down of trees does.
Sometimes back, they visited the school, surprisingly bringing in a lot of books, close to 1,010 books. Now they are here again to plant this tree to sustain the environment.
Similar events by the foundation were held simultaneously in various schools across the country, and NNPC Foundation pledged to align with global best practices in the energy industry and the Sustainable Development Goals. The NNPC Foundation was established as the social arm of NNPC Limited to be the connect between the stakeholders who are the over 200 million Nigerians and the company. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Away from the environment now, let's look at other issues. As the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Ienre, says Binance will face all due process on charges of severe financial crime. In a statement, the minister assured that due processes are being applied in all stages of the trial by the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Binance, the statement adds, will have every opportunity to defend itself in court against the severe charges of financial crimes against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the hearing scheduled for June 20, 2024. The minister explains that Binance, the defendant, has received consular access and all due care following normal diplomatic protocols and rule of law, adding that the judge in the case has sufficiently posited that bail was denied because of the flight risk after a co-accused, now the subject of an Interpol warrant, illegally absconded. Binance had a turnover in Nigeria of over $20 billion in 2023 alone, far above the federal budget for health and education, fueling currency speculation and the cost of living crisis in Nigeria. Cheng Peng Zhou, the billionaire co-founder and former CEO of Binance, is currently serving a 4-month prison sentence in the United States after being found guilty of money laundering. Now, President Bola Tinubu extends his congratulations to Her Excellency Ms. Claudia Sheinbaum on her historic election as the first female president of the United Mexican States. Ms. Sheinbaum won the Mexican presidential election by a landslide, becoming the first female president in the country since its independence in 1821. In a statement, President Tinubu, on behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, congratulates the people of Mexico and calls for the strengthening of bilateral ties between both nations across areas of mutual interest. President Tinubu also states that the election of Sheinbaum ascends the voices of women in government and sends a reverberating message across the world that women must not only be participants but principal architects in shaping and implementing decisions affecting the lives of many. Also, President Bola Tinubu warmly congratulates Pastor William Folorunsho Kumuyi on his 83rd birthday. President Tinubu rejoices with the founder and general superintendent of the Deeper Christian Life Ministry on this special occasion and celebrates his many years of defining impact as a leader, author, and teacher within and beyond the frontiers of Nigeria. The president salutes his dedication and service not only to God, but to humanity, especially the underprivileged and the downtrodden. President Tinubu notes the spiritual leader's zeal in exercising his divine mantle for the promotion of peace, good neighborliness, and values as demonstrated by the Lord Jesus Christ. He prays for many more years and good health for the Lord's servant and his family. Away from congratulations now, the Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, has commenced stakeholders' consultations to ensure strict compliance with maximum safety requirements, especially the installation of speed limit device. This is in reaction to the increasing number of explosions involving cargoes, particularly tankers conveying inflammable products on Nigerian roads, especially the fatal road traffic crash that involved a Mazda saloon car and a tanker conveying gas that exploded, killing 2 people and destroying property on Obirikwere Bridge on the East-West Road in Rivers State on Tuesday. FRSA report on preliminary investigation revealed that the crash, which was caused by speed violation, had 3 people rescued without injury. As part of concerted proactive measures put in place to mitigate this avoidable road carnage, the Corps Marshal has directed sector commanders to intensify enforcement on installation of speed limit device as well as enhance awareness campaigns. Now time for a break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, says it will within the week commence the payment of failed Heritage Bank depositors as it deployed manpower to the 160 branches of the bank across the country for liquidation exercise. Musa Abubakar reports that the corporation made this known at a briefing in Abuja.
A bank in distress and customers feeling distress.
I have school fees to pay. I went to the school and made an undertaking that I am going to pay my fees on or before Wednesday. This is Thursday. My kids are at home.
It's been 3 weeks since this interview with NTA, and now the fear of bank failure by customers is confirmed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, who revoked the license of Heritage Bank for poor financial performance. At this briefing, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation said the process of verification of the 2.3 million bank customers across the country had begun, and payment of maximum insured amount of 5 million naira will soon commence.
There are about 2.3 million depositors in Heritage Bank. 99.9% their balance is less than 5 million. Only about 4,000 depositors have more than 5 million and above. So we are going to take care of all of them. We pay them the insured amount.
The next stage is liquidation of the company to pay balance of depositors with more than 5 million naira and creditors of the bank, which the corporation say is not sure of the time frame.
We are also using this medium to also call on the creditors of the bank to come forward and also file their claim. There are some key staff that we need to help us, you understand, gather information. But of course others, that is the sad aspect. Because the bank is already in liquidation, so they have lost their job.
Meanwhile, customers of the bank are expected to go to the nearest branch close to them for verification. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
For more business news, let's join Benny Adams now. Benny.
Thank you and welcome to business. Latest figures from the African Development Bank shows 41 countries on the continent are projected to experience a stronger economic growth in 2024 compared to 2023, with 17 countries set to experience a rate of more than 5% for the year by 2025. This number could increase to 24 countries, making Africa the second fastest growing region globally. But experts say more needs to be done to ensure sustainable growth.
Yes, we can trade. But if I'm trading sorghum with you and you are trading millet with me, in a free trade zone, we are going to be efficiently and competitively poor together. That zone must be an industrial manufacturing zone in which we have consolidated infrastructure to allow Africa to be able to have export-oriented industrial manufacturing stance that will raise the share of manufacturing in our GDP from what it is today to a higher level. That's the way we are going to have the structural transformation we're talking about. My last 3 points is domestic resource mobilization. It's very important.
And back home, amid shockwaves from withdrawal of license of the Heritage Bank by the CBN, experts offer tips on how to know if your financial institution is stable. Do take a listen.
That is by looking at the prudential ratios, okay, whether in terms of non-performing loans or capital adequacy ratio or even liquidity ratio. If you look at the average for the industry, you'll find that they are all within thresholds, okay? Take non-performing loans, for example. The threshold is 5% maximum, and we understand for our banks today, the average is about 4.6%. If you look at liquidity ratio, threshold is 30% minimum. Our banks all have well over 30%. And for capital adequacy ratio between 10% and 15%, we also have, this ratio in the average of 13.5%. So the banking system today is stable, is safe, and sound. No doubt about that.
And on that cheering note, the Economic Management Team's Emergency Task Force has developed a comprehensive plan to restore economic stability, growth, and confidence in the nation's economy. Key sectors of agriculture, energy, support to businesses, health and social welfare, macro-fiscal alignment, and proposed interventions to achieve urgent economic stability are being considered. The Accelerated Stabilization and Actualization Plan has been presented to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu by the Minister of Finance and Coordinated Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu. And a quick look at the markets. Investors gained 132.1 billion naira as the all-share index advanced by 0.24% to close at 99,284.38 basis points. A total of 308.1 million shares in 7,690 deals, corresponding to a market value of 4.862 billion naira, were traded. Today's data shows 11% decline in volume, 36% decline in turnover, and 5% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 56.2 trillion naira. On the aggregate, 120 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 18 gainers and 24 losers. Fidelity Bank recorded the highest volume of traded shares, followed by Owando and Veritas Capital Assurance. That is business news. News Extra continues.
Well, thanks, Benny, for the updates, especially the one on banks that are stable at the moment. All right, let's take a look at other news. As MTN, one of Nigeria's leading telecommunications companies, is giving back to the society through its annual Yellow Care campaign. This time around, the company is investing in the education sector with particular focus on education for rural and remote communities. Hingino John Adams, who attended the flag-off of the 2024 MTN 30 Days Yellow Care, tells us more.
Confetti flying all over the arena at the official flag-off of MTN's Yellow Care 2024 campaign, providing a glimpse of how the education sector is expected to flourish under the program, which has as theme education for rural and remote communities. Staff of MTN set the mood by bringing back old memories of school days as the organization gears up towards investing in education. Building on the successes of previous years, the 2024 campaign is expected to last for 30 days. Management of the organization says MTN is committed to creating positive change within communities it serves.
This is our way of working with the people in support of government to provide for the future of the country. the youth, the people that we are supporting today, we are doing our bit to support, are the people who would ordinarily take this country to the next level.
As part of activities marking the event, MTN organized a pitch-a-thon, and the winner, as well as other participants, were rewarded.
Yellow Cares, which is the initiative of the MTN staff members, are partnering with us to take learning resources to children in SS2 in preparation for their senior secondary certificate examination.
It's a laudable project, and I know they will also reach, to some places that government hands cannot reach.
Management of MTN says the brand is positioned to serve as catalyst for positive change and growth in the society. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
And from Lagos, let's quickly head to Kaduna State now, as the ad hoc committee of inquiry set up by the Kaduna State House of Assembly to consider loans acquired and projects executed by the state government from May 29, 2015 to May 29, 2023 has recommended that the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and others involved in the alleged financial misappropriation be investigated. Muhammad Umar Ajingi brings us details.
While presenting the report during plenary, the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Magaji Harry Danjuma, highlighted that due process were not followed in securing some of the loans, and the loans were not used for the purpose they were obtained for during the El-Rufai's administration.
The chief advisor, councillor to the governor of Kaduna State from May 29, 2015 to May 29, 2023, abused the trust bestowed on him and used the opportunity to introduce dubious companies to which he secured the award of several contracts at outrageous amount.
Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, Yusuf Liman Ahiru, says a total of over 400 billion naira was allegedly siphoned by the El-Rufai's administration, leaving the state with huge liabilities.
When His Excellency Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai took over governance of Kaduna State, mopped up cash in the state paid into the TSA amounting to 34 billion naira.
The committee, however, recommended for the investigation and prosecution of the former Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai and some members of his cabinet indicted by the report of the ad hoc committee for alleged abuse of office through the award of contracts without due process, diversion of public funds, as well as plugging Kaduna State into heavy debts. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Murajingi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in the reaction to the Kaduna Assembly report, the media advisor to Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Muyiwa Adekeye, says the former governor served Kaduna State with integrity and to the best of his capacity, assisted by a hard-working and patriotic team, and complied with all extant laws in all his activities while he was the governor. Adekeye says a copy of the report of the ad hoc committee has not been made available for a response to dismissed claims, but added that Nasir El-Rufai left impeccable records in Kaduna State, and many of the officials who served in the El-Rufai government appeared before the ad hoc committee because of their confidence in the quality of their service and the rectitude which they served Kaduna State. All right, let's quickly move on now to some political stories. As the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, has formally launched a digital platform to drive its membership registration process across the country. To effectively achieve desired results, the party is also holding an e-register train the trainers workshop to cover the prospect of future population. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
An initiative incubated on the 20th of August 2023 has finally made history, with 109 participants nationwide ready to take the digital platform to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. Now, these participants are tasked to transfer the knowledge that will be acquired and trickle it down to all structures of the party in ensuring membership growth and development.
by launching this digital platform, the party is sending a very strong and clear message that the APC is truly progressive and forward-thinking.
The APC initiative to digitalize party membership aligns with the broader national trend of leveraging technology to strengthen democratic processes and institutions.
I am certain the experience will be a worthy one for all of you who are here to be part of the trainer program.
For the national chairman, the initiative is among the top-notch digital innovations APC and WC introduced to align the party with contemporary ICT protocols obtainable in modern democracy.
I must say this exercise is very important and dear to us. Therefore, we must strive to succeed. I would like to reaffirm my commitment to the ideals of our great party to set new standards and benchmarks in the nation's democratic sphere and ensure the sustenance and continuation of the APC government at all levels.
The fully automated application will also assist in centralizing information of members, promote accessibility, and enhance efficiency of records. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
And still talking politics, the APC in River State has lamented the slow pace of development in the state, stressing the need to consolidate on achievements of the immediate past administration. Caretaker Committee Chairman Tony Okocha made the observation at a media briefing in Port Harcourt, where he assessed the performance of the PDP-led government in 1 year.
Briefing journalists on the state of development in Rivers State in the last 1 year of Governor Simlanaye Fubara's administration, Chairman Caretaker Committee APC in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, says that the present administration in the state has not done enough to transform the fortunes of the state.
It is apt to say that we have relapsed to the days of primitive administration in our political history.
The APC chieftain, who is also the representative of Rivers State on the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, advised the #1 citizen of the state not to deviate from the consolidation and continuity mantra that brought him to power.
The governor of Rivers State, runs the state without a budget. So do you want me to justify illegality? 500 and something billion? How did he get the empowerment? From where? Are those projects contained in the budget? And where's the budget, please, for crying out loud?
He called on Nigerians, irrespective of political inclination, to remain resolute and key into President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for economic rejuvenation. In Port Harcourt, Chidiebere Onyea, NTA News.
Away from Port Harcourt, but staying with politics, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is not engaged in any major talks with other political parties. The party's position was made known after the National Working Committee meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunagba, on behalf of the party leadership after a closed-door National Working Committee meeting, explained that PDP is truly people's party that is open and welcoming to all Nigerians, including its former members who left for other parties. While re-emphasizing that the PDP is not yet in a merger talk with any other party, Ologunagba stated that the party remains strong and formidable, capable of winning elections in a free, fair and transparent electoral process in the country.
We went through the net and we came out nicely and we're doing well. And in challenges, we have capacity to come up alive. And that's why we see the PDP is bouncing back.
The PDP National Working Committee acknowledged what it described as the influx of millions of Nigerians into the party in the ongoing party membership drive in all the electoral wards across the country. He enjoined members of the party, democracy institutions and the international community to disregard any report suggesting any form of merger between the PDP and any other political party, as such is not in the contemplation of the PDP. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Heading to the courtroom now, a federal high court in Abuja has shifted hearing in a suit instituted by the impeached deputy governor of Edo State, Comrade Philip Shaibu, against Governor Godwin Obaseki and others till June. The suit seeking to declare the impeachment of Shaibu as unlawful, illegal, unconstitutional was put off by Justice James Kolawole Omotosho following the absence of some of the defendants in court. 28 by Justice James Kolawole Omotosho following the absence of some of the defendants in court. At Wednesday's proceedings, lead counsel to Philip Shaibu, Ayotunde Ogunleye SEN, informed the court that the matter initially slated for Monday, June 3, was stalled by the strike action embarked upon by the organized labor, including court workers affected the date. He also drew the attention of Justice Omotosho to an earlier order that all parties must file and exchange their processes based on abridgment of time and accelerated hearing granted in respect of the suit. The judge, however, warned that he would not tolerate any further delay from any party in the hearing of the matter, adding that any party seeking objections against the suit must do so along with the substantive matter. In case of any party refusing to be in court, he threatened to invoke relevant laws to proceed with the matter, adding that processes filed would be deemed adopted to do justice to parties in the suit. The judge, while delivering ruling in an application, agreed with the plaintiff's counsel, Ayotunde Ogunleye SAN, that both the Speaker and the new Deputy Governor are necessary parties in the suit. Justice Omotosho had dismissed the objections raised against the motion on notice by the Speaker and the Deputy Governor for being frivolous and without merit. Now, let's talk about security. Ongoing Operation Lake Sanity 2, being conducted by troops of multinational joint task force, is recording substantial successes, with about 180 terrorists recently surrendering and more than 140 others neutralized in the 6 weeks of the operation. Force Commander MNJTF Major General Ibrahim Salau Ali disclosed this during an international press conference on progress of Operation Lake Sanity 2. Maimuna Garba has all the details.
The operation, which commenced on the 23rd of April 2024 with participation of troops from Nigeria, Cameroon and Chad, is to further clear remnants of the terrorists and restore lasting peace to the Lake Chad Basin general area. The Force Commander, Multinational Joint Task Force Major General Ibrahim Salau Ali, had, while briefing the press, said troops have been relentless in their efforts and had cleared some locations and key terrorist strongholds in the Lake Chad area.
We have recorded the surrender of 176 terrorists and the arrest of 57 individuals involved in terrorist activities. During these operations, we recorded a notable cache of armaments.
General Ali said aerial operations conducted by national air forces have led to destructions of crucial logistic bases and staging areas around Tumbun Fulani as significant terrorist platforms were destroyed, thereby crippling their operational capabilities.
The operation continues. The advancements we have made are critical steps toward restoring peace and stability in the Lake Chad Basin region.
The commander further said the support provided by Operation Emergency in Cameroon, Operation Hadinkai in Nigeria, and the Chadian National Operation, as well as Sector 4 in Difa, Niger Republic, have been instrumental as blocking forces for Operation Lake Sanity 2. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian army has reacted to a false campaign of calumny by Simon Ekpa, a self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous proscribed peoples of Biafra, IPOB, alleging that troops of the Nigerian army are carrying out mass killing of innocent Igbos. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Onwachukwu, indicates that the report and footage are misleading and targeted at whipping up negative sentiments against troops in the southeast region. The statement adds that the Nigerian army has conducted a comprehensive investigation and refutes the fake report, stressing that troops in the footage are not personnel of the Nigerian army. To ensure the safety of road users, precautionary measures have been taken to halt vehicular movement along that route temporarily. Similarly, there are no evidence to support the assertion that individuals were being shot at in the river, nor reports from local communities regarding this discovery of corpses in the area. Now, the Nigerian Navy has activated a regional exercise codenamed Abo Ekun in collaboration with foreign navies to enhance regional security, especially in the Gulf of Guinea. Lane Leneke has details on this and recent activities of the Nigerian Navy. And that report would come in the course of this bulletin. Let's quickly take a look at some other stories now. As part of the ongoing transformation agenda of the Borno State government in the education sector, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has inaugurated 6 new secondary schools constructed by his administration through the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment. The governor also unveiled a back-to-school campaign materials procured to increase enrollment and retention of students. Mohammed Goni reports.
Equipped with modern teaching and sporting facilities, the inaugurated schools comprise Government Day Secondary School Maiduguri, Government Day Secondary Schools at 1,077 housing estates. Others are Government Junior Secondary School Wulari, Government Day Secondary School Gwenidamgari, and Government Day Secondary School Balabalindiai. As part of the Build Back Better strategy, the government also plugged up distribution of school items for 100,000 students who will be enrolled in public schools across the state for the 2024-2025 academic session. Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment is meant to bridge the severe gaps in school enrollment occasioned by Boko Haram insurgency, especially as it affects the girl-child education. The governor, who highlighted the various measures taken by the present administration to reposition the education sector.
This project, Archive, is a $60 million project, which is being borrowed by Borno State.
Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Lan Abawokibe, announced that Governor Zulum's administration is in the verge of completing 120 mega schools in the next 1 year and stressed government's commitment to revamping the education sector by providing access to quality education for the less privileged children in the society. National Coordinator Agile Aisha Buba, the State Agile Coordinator Ibrahim Baba, and the State Chairman SBMC Abba Bakr Abba Mastar noted the achievements recorded by the Agile project in Borno, crediting the support of Governor Zulum for the success of the project in Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
All right, now a truly exceptional academic leader fosters an environment where innovation flourishes, diverse perspectives are welcomed, and where every member feels valued and supported in their academic journey. Olajide Bello reports that these words resonated at the special dinner and award in honor of the Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, Professor Abdulrasheed Naala, by the Abuja Leadership Center.
In the academia, leadership is not just about making decisions. It's about cultivating a culture of collaboration, creativity, and continuous improvement. A visionary academic leader understands the importance of adaptability in the rapidly evolving landscape, embracing change as an opportunity for growth rather than a challenge to be feared. These are some of the sterling qualities of Professor Abdulrasheed Naala that called for this gathering. From his trailblazing achievements in Kwara State University, Malete, to the game-changing innovations that has repositioned the University of Abuja to world class, this is what prompted Abuja Leadership Center to give this humble but great achiever a path on the back.
We have not been able to articulate his visions for this center to the fullest. Most of the things he wants us to do, we have not been able to do them yet. But by the grace of God, we'll keep pushing. Because He's a man of excellence.
Scholars and colleagues from the academia described Professor Nala as one who inspires trust, builds consensus and champions the values of academic freedom, intellectual curiosity and social responsibility, laying the foundation for a vibrant and inclusive academic community.
He came here 5 years ago. He was able to expand infrastructure, create new programs, and promote welfare activities.
Tirelessly, with foresight and vision to raise the stature of this university.
I always describe him as an academic extraordinaire.
For the man of the moment who leads by example, demonstrating integrity, empathy, and a relentless commitment to excellence.
So if you ask me what it is, I would say it's that passion, you know, to hold on to my father's name, my mother's name, and my teachers' morality that they embedded in me.
To crown it all, just before the Abuja Leadership Center would draw the curtain to conclude the event, Professor Abdurrashid Nala added another feather to his cap as he bagged a Nelson Mandela Award in Texas University, United States of America. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Congratulations to the Vice Chancellor there. And for those planning on going to tertiary institutions, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says there will be no further extension of the 2024 direct entry registration after June 17, 2024 deadline. Head of Public Affairs, JAMB, Fabian Benjamin, in a statement urges candidates to take advantage of the opportunity to register. The extension of the registration, the board says, is to ensure that eligible candidates are given the opportunity to realize the dream of registering for their exercise. The statement also urges eligible candidates wishing to register for the 2024 direct entry to take advantage of the window and do so now. Towards finding durable solutions to the plights of displaced persons and returnee communities, a security planning and coordination group has been inaugurated by Yobe State by Governor Mai Mala Buni to, among other things, develop and implement comprehensive security plans and measures aimed at enhancing stability, safety and resilience in targeted communities. Yunusa Suleiman has the details.
As the Nigerian military sustains its onslaught against remnants of insurgents in the northeast, finding durable solutions to the displaced people and those who have been resettled becomes imperative. And Yobe State has discovered one of these solutions with the constitution and inauguration of a security planning and coordination group to further build the confidence and resilience of insurgency-affected communities in the state. Under the chairmanship of the state governor, the group is to facilitate the establishment and implementation of a common approach and an inclusive framework for all stakeholders to support a timely, coordinated and effective transition from stabilization, medium and long-term recovery to peace-building and development processes, especially in crisis-affected communities covered by the UNDP's regional stabilization facility projects across the state.
The group has the following as its terms of reference: provide strategic direction and oversight for security planning and coordination efforts within the regional stabilization facility project in Nigeria. Coordinate security-related activities and initiates across relevant stakeholders, including government agencies, security forces, and development partners.
So the SPCG serves as a crucial mechanism for coordinating and managing security initiatives which are vital for the success of interventions aimed at stabilization, durable solutions, and overall recovery and development efforts.
20 additional vehicles were also procured and presented to security agencies by the state governor. The presentation of these vehicles by Governor Mai Mala Buni, security experts say it will enhance the operational capabilities of security agencies operating in the state. In the Matru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Thank you, Suleiman. Yunusa, let's quickly take a break now. When we'll come back, more reports. Thank you for remaining with us. The public relations experts have described public relations as crucial for businesses to thrive, including government organizations, to establish and maintain mutual lines of communication, acceptance and cooperation to serve public interest. This is one of the benefits the FCT chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPRO, identified when the chairman, Stanley Azuka, received fellow members of the institute from the private sector in Abuja. Garba Nata'ala reports.
Interaction provided thought-provoking accounts of changes and innovative solutions that public relations experts say is a must, thinking outside the box, which requires tapping the potential of the pool of professionals based in the FCT. Improving content is indispensable in public relations. In particular, Abuja has a limited business ecosystem to operate, unlike Lagos State, which developed its market. However, it is not the case, as PR practitioners took risks to remain afloat for many years. The practitioners identified PR deficits, saying most organizations lack the reputation and corporate visibility to thrive.
But first and foremost is, first of all, we need to do an introspection. How many agencies in Abuja have that competence and that capacity? Then how do we upskill those of them that do not have this capacity so that we have a rich pool that we can leverage on and that clients can leverage on with confidence?
So this visit is all part of ensuring that the future of public relations within the FCT is projected.
This builds up the issue of re-strategizing to bear the dividends of the profession. At the same time, the Institute enhances the enabling environment to grow and expand the scope of public relations, the FCT chairman says.
We are looking at a unique way of solving societal problems. We have discovered that a lot of organizations have deficiencies on issues of reputation. And that is one of our key focus areas.
The PR practitioners, however, say their mission is to draw public attention, that the professional body is committed to working out modalities in addressing some of the deficits in providing corporate visibility to organizations and to multinationals. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Nata'ala, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto and President General Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, has urged Muslims in Nigeria to look out for the new crescent of Zulhijjah, Thursday, 6th of June 2024, which is the 29th Zulqa'dah 1445 after Hijjah. A statement signed by Professor Sambo Wali Junaidu, Chairman, Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Sultanate Council, Sokoto, says anyone or group that cites the new moon should report to the nearest district or village head for onward communication to the Moon Sighting Committee. Let's take another quick break. Remain tuned. Welcome back. Empower women and empower the whole family. This belief is what leads to the massive empowerment of small business holding women by the wife of the Jigawa State Governor, Hadiza Umar Namadi. Muhammad Musa Askira reports that the empowerment is reaching out to about 3,000 women across the 27 local government areas in the state.
We'll add this 50,000 naira to the business capital I have. Now we feel the positive impact of good governance.
These beneficiaries are hopeful that the 50,000 naira will go a long way in facilitating the growth of their businesses and enhance their return on investments. The program, which captured 100 women per local government area, Hadiza Umar Namadi believes will facilitate 12-point agenda tailored along the renewed hope agenda, focusing on poverty eradication, creation of wealth, and engendering prosperity among the citizens.
2,700 women across 27 local government of Jigawa State are going to be richer of about 50,000 naira cash donation in order for them to engage in a mini business exercise.
This followed the empowerment of 2,800 women beneficiaries who are members of the 481 registered APC support groups with empowerment tools and cash grants in Jigawa State by Governor Umar Namadi recently in Hadeja, Kazaure, Gumel and Ringim Emirates in the state.
In our effort to empower our people, we will continue to bring in numerous programs that will ensure that we have moved our people out of poverty.
In less than 7 months, Jigawa state government was able to empower about 80,000 small business holders from Dutse. Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
And from Jigawa State, let's head to Niger State now, as the challenge of manpower gap and brain drain in the Niger State health sector, and indeed Nigeria, is gradually phasing out. This is with the engagement bond between medical students at clinical stage in various health tertiary institutions in the country into the state civil service for a period of 2 to 6 years to bridge the deficit in the medical industry. Fatima Aliyu reports.
Sector in Niger State has over the years been challenged with manpower gap, leading to overstretch of medical personnel across health facilities in the state. It was in an effort to bridge this deficit that the state government is engaging 60 indigenous medical students at clinical stage in tertiary institutions across the country to serve as frontline medical officers. Under the initiative, the medical students will be placed on salary grade level 10 step 2 and are expected to in return provide effective healthcare services to the people of the state. Niger State Governor was represented at the engagement.
It's part of Niger State government efforts at supporting their studies on one hand and providing them the opportunity to join the civil service before completing their medical course.
Part of the arrangement is that if we service you for 1 year, you are under a bond to work for us for 2 years before you take a leave. And part of it also is that you must come back here to do your housemanship.
The drive is expected to engage more than 120 medical students in the next 3 years. This is in addition to the 1,000 health workers employed by the state government last year. Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency is urging the public to pay attention to the correct lyrics, wordings, and other unique features of the old national anthem, which has been signed into law by President Bola Tinubu to become the new national anthem. Presenting the correct version of the new national anthem to newsmen in Abuja, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Ienre Issa Onilu, says NOA will call for entries for the production of an authentic melody, taking into cognizance the indigenous instrumentation of the Nigerian people.
We call the attention of Nigerians to the line 3 of the first stanza, which reads, "Though tribes and tongues may differ." Please note that the words tribes and tongues are in plural. We want you also to note that line 5 of the first stanza reads, "Nigerians all are proud to serve." The word "ha" and not "and" is the correct version.
He says that NOA will follow the official procedure to secure an approval for the adoption of a new national prayer, while the national pledge remains valid and operational. He also expressed commitment by the agency to partner stakeholders to ensure citizens buy in of the new national anthem and sing it reflectively with a sense of pride. More commercials need to breathe. Let's take another break. Stay with us. Welcome back. 47 business agreements were signed by 23 African countries at the roundoff of the 2-day summit between South Korea and Africa. And President Biden is in France in commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the D-Day. Kolo Mohammed brings us details of these and other stories on Global Update.
President Joe Biden landed in France on Wednesday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day on a trip designed to underscore his commitment of U.S. allies in Europe and contrast his vision of democracy with his 2024 political opponent Donald Trump. Courage, resilience, and solidarity are the words with which King Charles III paid tribute to the 80th anniversary of the celebration. King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince Williams, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak were at Portsmouth today to listen to and identify further with the stories of courage, resilience, and solidarity.
And future generations. Do not forget their service and their sacrifice in replacing tyranny with freedom.
And 47 agreements with 20 African countries were made during the summit as Asia's fourth largest economy seeks to tap the minerals and the vast export market in Africa. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol told a gathering of about 200 political and industrial leaders from African countries in South Korea at the business summit on Wednesday. He added, and I quote, "My hope is that mutually beneficial resource cooperation will be expanded in hopes that time spent here in Seoul comes through going forward in honor, value, and overall good of participating countries and their regions of residence." End of quote. As California's Environmental Protection Agency said in an alert, that outdoor workers, the elderly and children were particularly vulnerable to extreme heat, which is an invisible but dangerous consequence of climate change. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Away from the foreign scene, back home now, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has described the passing of the National President of the National Council of Women Societies, Lami Adamu Lau, as a great loss in the struggle for the emancipation of women folk. On a statement, she notes that Lami Adamu Lau's dedication to the empowerment and upliftment of women across Nigeria was unparalleled, and that her tireless efforts, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment have left an indelible mark. She adds that Lami Adamu Lau was a beacon of strength and a source of inspiration for countless women, and her legacy will continue to inspire future generations. The First Lady sent her thoughts and prayers to her husband, children, family, friends, and the entire NCWS community, praying that they find comfort in the memories of her remarkable life and her many contributions to the cause of women's rights and social justice. Similarly, Nigerian women mourn the passing away of one of theirs, the National President, National Council of Women Societies, Lami Lau, at the early hours of today after a brief illness. Reports indicate that she was on an official assignment in Kebbi. Deborah Bala Bobo reports.
What we are targeting, politically, socially, and economically.
Hajia Lami Adamu Lau, a woman of many parts, particularly her commitment to the well-being of Nigerian women, vigorously pursued as the national president of the National Council of Women Society, NCWS. Many say her tenure resuscitated the core values of the National Council. The news of her demise, therefore, came as a rude shock to women.
It's a big blow to all of us.
Auntie Lami was a very dedicated, honest, and straightforward woman.
Full of humility and respect for leadership and for humanity.
Died in the line of duty. For me, this is a call for all Nigerian women to come together.
We are so happy when she came on board because she brought National Council back to what it was. This morning to this sad news, very sad news, because our national president, she's mother for everyone.
Fantastic woman, extremely dedicated woman, heart of gold.
The Minister of Women Affairs also joined the roll call of sympathizers.
Let's emulate from this lady, because it's high time we stopped that idea that women don't support women.
Hajia Lami Adamu Lau emerged national president of the National Council for Women Societies in 2022. She was aged 62. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubo, NTA News.
We condole with Nigerian women, and that's our package of News Extra tonight. Many thanks for watching. Have a good night.